You have a database full of stuff. Here we just have numbers and individuals and what have you. You're the new kid on the block. Your job is to present this to your boss in a presentable manner that makes sense. Here's the output. Tell me, is it much easier to read this than this? Let me show you how to do this. Pretty straightforward. Outline and design a pivot table calculated field. Brad Williams, Excel Prime. Outline and design a pivot table calculated field. Now, this is a bit of a challenge for some because we can't add formulas directly to this sum. This does it automatically. I'm going to show you how we can we can add some stuff. And what I mean by stuff, what we have here is your basic information from this table over here. We have this sum of sales right here, and it's on a monthly basis. We just have salespeople across. So we're going to add an average price, and then we're going to compute quarterly commissions based on formulas. So let me dwell on some of the intricacies here, and that is we're going to be using what's called calculated fields and calculated items. What's a calculated field? Calculated field, it's a new field created from other fields in the pivot table. If your pivot table source is a worksheet table, an alternative to using a calculated field is to add a new column to the table and create a formula, form the desired calculation. Calculated field must reside in the values area of the pivot table. You can't use a calculated field in the columns area, over here, or in the row area. Calculated item uses the contents of other items within a field of the pivot table. If your pivot table source is a worksheet table, an alternative to using a calculated item is to insert one or more rows and write formulas that use values in other rows. A calculated item must reside in the columns area, row area, or filter area of a pivot table. You can't use a calculated item in the values area. So it can go in here, here, or here. And this will be the final outcome. Let's move over to a new table and let's get started. Insert, pivot table, from range, existing. We're going to put it right here. We're going to hit OK. And we're going to add sales rep to columns. We're going to add sales to values, put month into rows. And here we have a summary of information. Don't worry about format. We're just going to try to get the structure in place. So the next thing I strongly suggest is you come up with a format. We got to figure out a commission schedule. Think about it. It's on a quarterly basis. For January, February, and March, it'll be 10%. April will be 9%. July will be 10%. October on will be 10.5%. We want to show this. Here's our quarterly commission. We want to write this out because we're going to have to put this into a dialog box. We can't put formulas into a pivot table. We have to use a dialog box. And we also want this average price here. Average price, you're going to have to use units sold and sales. What do? You just divide sales by units sold. And that shows here. And I have it written out here because we have to insert these into up here where it says calculated field. We're going to have to insert this into this area. We're going to want to put this information, the commissions information, in a calculated item. Why? Well, we're calculating a field here. And then we're calculating items. Go back here. These are items. Here's the field. How do we do this? Highlight any cell next to where we want the average price. We want to go to pivot table, calculations, items, and then calculated field. We go to pivot table. We go to calculations. We go fields, items, and sets, and calculated field. And here we have the field. We have the formula. average price is what we want. Type this in, average price. We need to put a formula in here. So here, it's a little tricky. We're going to have to put sales. You have to actually hit insert field, and it will default with an equal sign. And then you can put a division /. We want units sold, insert, okay. We have sum of average price. We could change the name, put average price, hit enter, just put average price 1, enter. You can resize this, you can do whatever you want. We have the average price of the sales here. All you have to do is take this equals this divided by that, and we have 96 and we have 96. From there, we want to figure out the commission. How do we do that? We're going to go to fields and then hit calculated item. But this is what we have to do. We have to highlight a label up here in order to do this. We go to PivotTable, go to fields and items, and hit calculated field. Now, if you noticed before, when we highlighted this number here, the sales number, and we went to PivotTables and fields and set, we only had a calculated field. You go to here, we could still do a calculated item. We could do it up here in the labels, or we can do it here in this section here. We can hit a calculated item. What are we doing? Months. We're trying to break this into quarterly. You can name it anything you want. You can just go quarter, 1, commission. As you close this out, you grab this information here and you copy it. Copy, hit escape, and then go here and hit print, then field, calculate item, paste this in, and then copy this. Just go quarter 1 commission. I'm going to keep it short and hit add. Hit OK. Here you have quarter 1 commission. For now, let's turn off the grand total. Go to design, grand totals, off for rows and columns, just so you can see what we're trying to do here. We're going to have to repeat this. We go back, grab this data here, the formula, copy, go back here into the pivot table, go to pivot, calculated item, easier just to paste, Q2, quarter, to commish, hit add, hit OK. Now grab the third, copy, go back into the pivot table, pivot, field, calculate item, paste, quarter, 3, commish, OK, OK. And last, grab this last bit of data. Just make sure you just grab the at the equal sign, copy, and notice there's a space here. Why? Because I don't want Excel to try to calculate this and throw an error. Then just go back into the pivot table, go to pivot, fields, calculate item, paste this in. You can type it in if you want. It's just easier for me to copy paste. Quarter, 4, commish, add, okay. And there you go. That's the structure. All we want to do now is grab this, and you remember group. We want to group this, group selection. Don't grab December. Grab everything below. Go group. You can name this. We can go commissions, sales, or whatever you want to call it. You want to format this thing. Be sure to check out all of our Excel courses. Excel data and text manipulation. We have an advanced beginners and intermediate course. Excel essentials. This is for individuals new to Excel. We have an advanced, excellent beginners, level 1 and level 2, and intermediate level course. Excel formulas, formulas only. We have a beginner, an advanced, and an intermediate level course. Click on any of the links. There's a short video that explains everything about the course. Check it out. What I suggest, if you want to format this into comma, grab this cell, And there, you could do this a couple different ways. Hold down Control, highlight this range. I still have my finger down on the Control key in this range, in this range. Go over to numbers in ribbon under home. Get rid of the decimals. I went commission, I went grand total. Let's change that. Let's go back, go to design, go to grand totals, shut those off, go to subtotals for bottom of group, and now we have subtotals. And if you want a grand total, you can do that if you want. We can go to grand total or columns only. Here we have subtotals and grand total. A little busy. I'm going to get rid of the grand total off. The numbers 29053, 142, 3393. The reason being is in this example, the commissions were different. I changed the commissions here. What you need to do is experiment. Just get your fingers dirty, all right? You just have to just jump in, start playing around and figure out what the definitions are and what each of these icons, what do they mean? And the only way you do that is just open up this worksheet, create a pivot table, and make mistakes. It's fine. You can make mistakes and start over, and you don't have to tell anyone. Brad Williams, XL Prime. Thanks for watching.